What's up, War Report family? I am your host, C Dub. Did Auburn basketball cost themselves a shot at the NCAA tournament with last night's loss at Vanderbilt? We'll discuss that as well as some newcomers coming to Auburn football and who we think will contribute or make some noise this spring. We discuss all that and more in the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate. Let's go.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, Ike Jones. Be real. C-Dog. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone, happy Sunday. As you can see, I'm joined by Ike Jones, Mike G. You are watching the Weekend Tailgate, February 19th edition of the Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by show sponsor Athletic Architects. Please be sure to go visit buildthehouse.com. Shout out to them for sponsoring our show as well as being supporters of the War Report. We greatly appreciate Athletic Architects, and we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Now, we'll also appreciate it if you share this video, this live video, so that people can find this and join in on the conversation. While you're here, let us know you're here by smashing that like button. Help us with the YouTube algorithm and get us closer to 10K subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. Grab someone else's phone. Grab a stranger's phone. Well, be careful doing that. But grab somebody's phone and subscribe to us. Tell the people about what you got cooked up and how they can access that content.
Get your burner. Get your side chick's phone.
Yeah. There you go.
Get all the phones.
We're still doing film reviews. Didn't do a film review last week, unfortunately, because normally Thursday is film review day, and we had some bad weather here. School got out early. I could not get to the film review last week, so I'm gonna double up this week, man. I'm gonna give you a basketball one and a football one this week. So, members, just keep your notifications on. Your boy Ike Jones, I got you, man. I'm gonna figure out how to get two in here this week and make sure you're getting your money's worth. But yeah, you got to be a member to be a part of those live film review sessions. So make sure that you guys go ahead and do that. If you want to gift a membership to somebody, you can do that right now from the live chat. It's real simple. You pay for the first month. YouTube assigns it randomly to someone in the War Report community to get a free month of membership on you. We give away stuff all the time. We're going to give away a t-shirt today. We'll do the AU t-shirt. We haven't done one of these in a while. The AU t-shirt, you can rock this all year round. Whenever you want to, just put a coat on if it's cold. But yeah, you get AU t-shirt coming to y'all right now. Hashtag get your weight up in the live chat to be a part of this drawing. Sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. As always, the best in restaurant logistics right there with our guy, Walt Taylor. So you guys make sure you get in. Hashtag get your weight up to be eligible for the drawing. We'll do that around the 1 hour mark.
Guys, last night I was pretty salty. I was in a mood. And it's one of those nights where you just go to bed, after an Auburn loss. There's nothing else to experience, nothing else to see. And I feel like throwing some shade. And
hold on, wait, Caesar. Hold on, wait. Before we get into that, with every death, there's a life. And I just want to give some love to Auburn baseball because they won yesterday. And not only did they win, they waxed. So, in my life, I've only known one great Ike. And he's right there. Now there are two in my life. And his name is Ike Irish. And he is
he's out there doing
not human. He is a cyborg. I need this to catch on. He is the cyborg. He's not human. This kid is something special. And every time he went to he bats from both sides. He's a switch hitter. So he bats from both sides of the plate. And I thought my eyes were fooling me when he went up to bat. I was like, wait, was he just right-handed the last hit at bat? But this kid is something special. I think Auburn has something cooking this year in baseball again. Now, a lot was made of Sonny DeShera last year. But I'm telling you, keep an eye on Ike Irish. They have a killer lineup. They went out and they've already won the series, so I expect them to beat Indiana. They didn't look very good. The starting pitcher Gonzalez went out there and just gave up almost nothing. The lineup behind him looked a little shaky. They got out of some jams. They got out of a bases loaded jam, and they got out of some jams yesterday. But Auburn baseball, Butch Thompson. Listen, I'm with these cats. They're gonna give us something exciting to talk about this spring. I was at the game, and I just want to make sure I give them some love before we commiserate over last night. So, kudos to Auburn baseball on a solid win last night, a dominant win last night. Dominant pitching, dominant hitting, just dominance. They looked great. They looked great last night.
So thanks for opening up with some sunshine. Let's get back to shade.
Pump that right in
where
there.
I will throw that to Ike, who was there in person to talk about his experience, as well as Vanderbilt's elaborate gym.
Yeah, elaborate. That's a word for it. That's a word. It's
Here we go. Yes.
He never disappoints.
How weird the environment was in Tennessee. Tennessee arena looked great.
Okay.
I didn't like where they had us seated in the arena because it was just a weird angle to not be able to see like a portion of the court from where we were. We weren't like up high enough.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt had that covered. We were in the rafters for this game. Like we were literally at the it's called the Crow's Nest. Like it is at the very top of the arena, up where they have the video camera for the game that shoots down onto the court. Like, we were up there. I could have high-fived the video camera guy. I was right next to him. That is not exaggeration. If you saw the picture I posted on Twitter last night from me being in there, like I am like literally I was right next to where the camera guy is.
People were joking with you about that on Twitter. So basically you shooting the game next to the camera guy. Yeah.
I could have been doing game footage up there from where I was. So that was that. The court, you guys have seen the court on TV. They have this weird dugout on each side. I don't know why they have a pit on each side of the court, which means that they have to have the sidelines like 10 feet away from the actual end of the thing so that nobody falls off into this pit on a random play. And they have the benches at the baselines. It's just weird, man. It's weird. And you can't like actually walk around the arena from anywhere but down on the floor because it's separated into 4 quadrants.
So you have to go down and then go back up every time? Okay.
Which was terrible for me because I didn't know how to get to the Crow's Nest. The dude was like, yeah, you go down here and it's not the first turn, it's the second turn, but then you go up the thing. And I was like, all right, cool. Not the first turn, but the second turn. So I passed the second turn somehow and then went up and then like got to the 3rd floor and it was like, oh yeah, no, that's on the other thing. I was like, what? So I had to go all the way back down, then come all the way back up to try to get to where I was. And then I had to go all the way back down to the bottom to where they had the media room.
How many steps did you get in?
My God. I don't know. But
it couldn't have been me. I'm glad you went because I would have been such a Karen. I'd be like, sir, this isn't ADA friendly. I don't know who designed this.
Oh no. but there's no shot for somebody who needs assistance to get.
Sir, I have a heart issue and this is not ADA friendly. Wait, what is Vanderbilt known for? Like, they're not an engineering school, clearly, right? Like, it can't be.
I don't know. Hospital medicine, I guess. I don't know. What is
Vandy? Yeah. Chat, chime in. What is Vandy good at? There on the academic side. Architecture? That's not it.
I don't know who designed that situation, but it was not. I don't know, man. It was terrible.
Yeah. Well, another thing that was terrible was the outcome of the game. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We've been saying for weeks to kind of not panic, and as time has gone, right. Well, Ike, Ike even Ike has been saying lately, like, hey, time is running out. We don't need to lose games that are winnable in order to ensure our chances. Auburn lost a winnable game last night. Ike, what should Auburn fans be doing right now?
Yeah, because you saw it live. I mean, you saw.
Yeah, I mean,
albeit from the Crow's Nest, but
Monterio
thing
Mumford
is,
says gummies. That's all, just one word, just gummies.
Yep. Plug the road shop right now.
I don't. I mean, the biggest thing is you don't really know what offensive team is going to show up, and it's not even a shooting thing. Like it's a how well are we going to run the offense thing, and we just did not run the offense well early in the game, and then we didn't run the offense well late in the game. Like it was just not good execution, man. And then defensively, that last defensive play was
mind-boggling.
Yeah, I don't know what anybody was thinking on that defensive play.
We pulled Broom off the court for that play. Did we?
We
not?
did.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah. So first and foremost, it's not as if Vandy had to inbound the ball and go the length of the floor.
Yeah.
And we didn't pick up full court, or we didn't even pick up three-quarter court, nothing to try to like force them into doing something. I wouldn't expect in the press, but I would expect Zep Jasper to just go pick him up higher, right? But then he gets ahead of steam coming downhill on this screen, and it's Jalen's man that screens him, and Jalen doesn't hedge on the screen, right? He's playing on the underneath side of the screen to not force the guy to give the ball up. And then once he gets to the lane, Dylan Cardwell just kind of throws his arms up and runs past him. I was just like, what are we doing, bro? You don't want to lose on a layup, a full head of steam layup going down like downhill, like make him acrobatic shot, something where you're just like, oh man, that was an impressive shot. It was just a layup, a contested layup, but it was a layup. And Dylan Cardwell's a good shot blocker. I would have rather Dylan fouled him in that scenario, going for a block, than him to just throw his arms up as if he didn't want to get his last foul in this final second of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I just have no idea defensively what the team was thinking about right there. Yeah, that was tough after KD made a ridiculously huge shot.
An amazing shot.
But this is what I was saying about KD, and people were like, "Oh, KD can't do." I'm like, y'all, your memory is short. In big moments, KD is that kind of shot maker. That actually, for some reason, like it amplifies him in that little, we need this shot right here moment. He's going to make more of them than he misses. And I'm not saying he's going to be perfect, because nobody is, but he's going to make more of those than he misses. He's a guy that makes those kind of shots. But yeah, man.
It seems like that's the defense you will play if you didn't call timeout.
Yeah, for sure.
I was surprised that we looked that way after coming off of a timeout.
Can we talk a little bit about how low-key salty they would have been if Jalen had made that last-minute heave that went off the back iron? That was close.
Like, unbelievably close to making that shot.
They were calling the game over. They were like, "Well, it's over," and it was like, "Ding!" And I was like, "Ooh, he almost made you eat that." Everything Ike said, ditto. Right, just some puzzling things there at the end. Now, I want to highlight. We asked after the last game, can Auburn win with Wendell not really contributing offensively? But the difference was the last game he took 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
This game he took like 14,
right,
and made 2 of them. So if he's gonna take 14 shots, I don't think they can survive a 2 field goal performance from him.
No,
I think what was also just as equally as puzzling is that he only had 1 assist. Now, typically when Wendell isn't scoring a lot, we see him get other people involved.
Right.
He didn't do that, nor was he scoring, which meant the offense wasn't being ran well. People wasn't getting involved. Like that hurts. So either he has to be good at least one of those things, scoring or getting people into the offense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking 14 shots, I think by nature you're not dishing the ball as much. It just felt like, and this has been my worry about this team when I say playing up and down to the competition, because all these games are winnable, but they're also all losable as well, too. And one of the announcers said during the game, you couldn't hear it, but he was like, Auburn doesn't have a bad loss on their schedule. Now, I would argue that as the season has progressed, the Georgia loss looks worse as the season goes on, right? But this felt like a bad loss.
It was a bad loss.
I don't think so. I think Vandy's a team that's playing really well right now.
I don't know, man. It just felt like this is a game.
Well,
Like we had to play.
When you
like,
look at record, yes, but they did beat Tennessee the week prior.
Yeah, Wendell had to play his worst for us to lose this game, right? And
no,
Broome,
literally, this is probably the worst game I've ever watched.
seen him play, right? Broome, I mean, kudos to him, dude. He came out in that second half on fire. Literally, whatever the 2-point version of a heat check is, he had it, right? Like, it was, and I have felt like, again, I said this a couple shows ago, if they're going to find scoring, it's got to come from Broome. At this point, it's got to come from Broome. Now, kudos to Berman for getting out there and confidently pulling some shots. The first 2 he hit, butter. the next 2, I mean, he barely caught the side of the rim on a couple of those. But, you know, he looked more confident offensively. And you know,
he has some amazing looks.
I just think, and, you know, I got questions about Chris Moore and the minutes he's playing. So I'm not going to dog that young man, but like they need to find an effective lineup of guys who can go out there. And it's just so hard because when Wendell doesn't play well offensively, like, or at least average, Ike, like when he's not at least average offensively, it's tough watching them lose these games. Now, I know we'll get to refs at some point. But I will tell you this. We released an interview with Stephen Pearl this morning. And, you know, I asked them about, hey, like, you know, what do you tell the team when they're calling fouls in a manner that does not allow you to play your game, right? And he talked about trusting the man behind you. You can't worry about fouling out. You got to play your game, and if you foul out, you got to trust the man behind you can come in and do the job. So I have big issues with how they call the game on Robbins. Big time. Because it was very frustrating hearing them say, oh, he's having a monster night. And I'm like, what? He's got 22 points at 18 on the free throw line. Is he really? Like, he threw up. They called a foul on Broome. I don't know if you guys remember.
I remember.
He just kind of like
he was in the lane. He's turning towards the middle of the lane, pump faked a couple of times, and then he just flails his body like this and throws up a shot, and I got a foul call.
He's getting for existing.
Yeah.
He got a foul called on him for existing.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was body seeking on that, and I mean, again, it happens in games, but it was at that point I was just like, come on, man, like you can't defend a guy if he's gonna do that.
Was that a foul? Was that a foul at the end of the 24? At the end, not 24, but end of the shot clock.
It was a foul. I still think it should have been a shot clock
violation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Was that a shot? Did the shot clock expire?
It expired.
Before?
It expired. You know what I think they probably went with was it's inconclusive. That's probably why I got called. I mean, it was close enough that they were just like, this could go either way, so we got to stick with the call on the floor.
Yeah,
kind of deal.
I didn't like that at all. And then I still don't actually know what the foul call at the end of the game was that put them on the free throw line. Because I'm not watching on TV. Did they give an explanation on television as to what?
No, Bruce was literally screaming at the ref. Like, I mean, he was in his face. He was like, you called us back onto the court to call a foul on us. Insane. Right. And
Bruce was upset in that moment for two things, right? Like they went to the review, but they never came back and told them this is the scenario so that they could like actually, hey, this is what we want to do out of this. Right. And he's like, no, you don't get to huddle up. Come on back out to the court. And he was like, what? So you gave a ruling, but you're not going to give me time to strategize at. He's just like, fine, whatever. Like you put time back on the clock to put them on the free throw line again.
Yeah, there was no explanation. Yeah, there was no explanation. And I think that was the most frustrating thing because, you know, as somebody who was watching it on TV, we were still confused. Right. And you got analysts and you got announcers and you got all these people watching these replays and nobody can figure out what are they doing. So, again, after the game, I tweeted SEC officiating with a little stock down symbol. And people jumped in my replies talking about, you know, we got to stop blaming the refs. And I'm like, okay, but we cannot blame we can still have a conversation about the refs.
Yeah, I don't think the refs are the reason we lost this game. They are a contributing factor for sure.
We have talked about the refs when we were winning games.
Yeah, they've been bad.
It's not like we just started talking about officiating.
But there are all these situations, Caesar, where we just don't know what's happening, and there's no clear explanation, and it's frustrating in a tight game.
Yeah.
In a tight game down the stretch, the refs need to be able to clearly explain why they're making a call and what's happening. Now, it seemed to me, because my question, I had posed this question. I was like, when are meaningful reviews triggered? Because it seems like we play games where they
went
just
to the review on that shot clock violation.
Yeah, they won't go to the monitor. And I'm just like, okay, on out of bounds plays, like who hit it out? Not going to the monitor, not going to the monitor. And then suddenly they're going to the monitor. A lot. It felt like, and I'm just like, okay, these are the same scenarios, but they're cherry picking when they go to the monitor and when they don't. Yeah. And sometimes it's clear to me, like, hey, that's out on that other dude. Now they made some good calls last night, but I don't know. I just think overall it's hard not to look at officiating when we've gone through a whole season of just really poor officiating in key situations. In key situations.
I'm gonna go back and watch this film, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna be petty. I was really gonna be petty and put out that's a bad call. Petty? That's a bad call. That's a bad call.
I'm all about it. I will sponsor it. I'm sponsoring it. I'm sponsoring it. Whatever I got to send you to do. There
were so many times where I was just like, I'm pretty sure he took like 4 steps just then,
dude.
I'm pretty
no.
Positive.
That was a few times I was like, So like, this is allowed now.
Yeah, dribbling the ball. He took his 2 steps, stop, pivot, turn around, drag his foot. I was like,
yeah, man.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. But
man.
We're going to call this, What Was You Looking At? Brought to you by Lens Crafters. Because I got to know. I have to know what they're looking at. We have all this technology. We got cameras everywhere. Fellas, we could put a camera in the official's hat if we wanted to. So that we can definitely see what he's looking at. Right there on the bill. Just, right? Looking for, wait, don't wear hats in basketball. But, put it on his whistle. Somewhere on his body where we can see what he's looking at.
Cam footage. Like
hilarious.
I know. We're going to subpoena the body cam footage.
Body cam footage was disabled.
Right. They conveniently disabled the cameras. Oh, sorry, it wasn't on, so we can't see what happened. And just see their point of view here, because it just seems like to me the refs don't know what the hell's going on when the game is on the line, and I think that's the most frustrating. Now you can talk about all the calls that are missed during the game, but when the NBA started doing that thing, guys, where they do the 2-minute report or whatever. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Where they go back and they critique themselves in the last 2 minutes of the game, or maybe it was the NFL that did it. But they issue a report essentially talking about all the calls they made or missed in the last to say whether it was accurate or not. And I think maybe, I don't know. How do you hold refs accountable? How do you hold refs more accountable for explaining their calls and key moments at the end of halves?
Yeah.
I think this is something that needs to be brought up at at the
SEC
meetings, at the meetings, the summer meetings.
I mean, they're going to have a coaches meeting at some point in time for the SEC, and they need to figure it out. It's a problem because SEC officiating. I don't watch enough of other leagues to know how their officials are working, right? But SEC officiating has been a problem in all sports. Like, it's been bad in football for a while. Mm-hmm. It's bad in basketball right now. When I say it's bad, it's terribly inconsistent, right? Like, it is
right.
And here's
that's
what
the glaring problem.
Here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that Auburn's not fouling people. I'm not saying, like, there are situations where you're like, I don't know if that was a foul, but okay.
They fouled. They did some fouls last night.
I'm not saying Auburn's not fouling people. I'm saying Auburn's getting fouled more than what they're being called. And so that's my problem. It's like, okay, great. That was a foul. Did you see that same thing happen over here? And if not, what do we need to do to make our fouls not look like fouls? Because clearly there's a way to foul that doesn't get called because we're not getting those same whistles. And that's the only problem I have. Again, for everybody who is watching this later, if you're in the live chat right now, I'm not saying the refs are the reason we lost this basketball game. That there is room for us to have a conversation about this and not say that the refs are the reason we lost. We lost this game because we came out super sluggish to start the game. We put ourselves in a hole to begin with. Then at the end of the game, when you had a big lead, well, not a big lead, but a big enough lead, I think that you should have been able to win this game. You stopped running your offense and you started doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and you just had shots that just didn't fall. Like, I think Jalen Williams, for whatever reason, hesitated too much when he had that open three, and he missed it because of that.
Yeah, I didn't like the shot, but
yeah, I think that Wendell Green, knowing he wasn't shooting well, should have deferred and gone somewhere else with the basketball a couple of times. He did a better job of trying to get to the line, but like the fadeaway shot that he took from the
other baseline. I don't. That's not a shot you take when you're not making shots right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was hesitant for the most part of the
night. He rarely take that shot when he is making shots.
Right. So it's just like you know Jay Will and Broom are cooking. They need a touch. One of those two guys should have had a touch on every possession.
Facts.
Every possession. There's no, like, I don't care who else is on the court. Run it through those guys and let them make the right decision. Now, Broom got a little too fancy for me one time when he caught the ball out top and he starts dribbling, he turned the ball over. It's like, that ain't your game. Like, I know you're cooking right now, but you're more of a face him up. We're not going to take very many dribbles. And if you are dribbling, it's back to the basket stuff. Like, you're not facing him up trying to, like that.
That also came after he took dude off the dribble and dunked it. So he was just like, I can do it.
He didn't do all of that when he took him off the dribble, though.
Right.
He faced him up. He gave him a couple of jab steps, and then he went by him. Like, he didn't do all this. And then, like, we don't need to see your bag right now, sir. This ain't bag season. Right now, it's time for you to just go do work like you've been doing. What got you those 3 shots in a row wasn't that. We don't need to see something additional. Just keep doing the stuff that you've been doing to get the buckets, because he's not fast as you. His feet can't move as quickly. So you don't need to do nothing extra with him. Just go by him.
Right.
Let's grab some comments, guys. Don Cullen, we mentioned Jalen, but he says that loss was tough, but did Jalen look really good?
I mean, listen, that little baby hook thing he's perfecting.
Yeah.
Dangerous, and if he can hit those shots in the middle of the lane consistently, I think it opens up a lot, in terms of scoring, because they need scoring.
He gets fouled almost every time he takes that shot, though.
Yep.
Almost every time.
Yep.
Somebody tries to get underneath his body on that shot, and he almost never gets the call. He should probably be he should probably shoot 6 to 8 more free throws per game. Per game. And he just doesn't get the calls for whatever reason.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. Listen, man, 8 of 12 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block is a hell of a game. That's a hell of a game, right? He has really stepped up. I mean, his maturation this season, I think, has been incredible.
This is the Jalen you've wanted to see, right?
This game was definitely the Jalen I wanted to see. He looked confident for the most. Like I said, other than that 3 at the end where he hesitated for whatever reason. I mean, she freaking banked the 3 in, right, at one point in time.
Yeah.
He just pulled up, and he was like in transition, just rose up, shot it, and banked it in from. It's
right.
Yeah, well, that's the Jalen I want to shoot the ball, bro.
Do you think a lot of that is the fact that he has not been asked to make a big shot like that and down the stretch of games? Like,
I mean, he's had a couple of them this year that he just hadn't been able to make. But whenever it's in that moment that he reverts back to, should I take this shot, Jalen? And it's like, bro,
should I defer? He's thinking about deferring it almost to someone else.
That bank reminded me of that cat we had a couple of years ago. What was his name? Macklemore. He used to make those kind of shots all the time where he just throw something up and then it'd like bank in, but he shot it so confidently the ball was like, yeah, all right. Let's go in, right? I mean, that's what that reminded me of, and I like him as a primary option on this team, right? In terms of scoring, just let him get the feel for it, especially if Wendell's not going to score. I mean, guys, and when you look at the box for this game, Broom and J. Will were a combined 16 for 27 from the field. Broom even hit a 3.
Yeah.
I like the other 2 he took. Like, he was feeling himself a little bit too much. But to me, right, like that 3 that he hit, like, I don't know if you remember, like, caused the dude to close out on him too overzealously, right? And then he went to the rack and dunked it. Yeah, right. He was like, "Oh man, this dude could hit 3s." I mean, he fell for it, but like, it was. I mean, they had a monster. I mean, offensively, they were Auburn's offense. But then, conversely, your other 2 starters were a combined 4 for 20 between Green and Flanagan. 4 for 20, man. Come on, dude. Just regular games from those guys, and they beat Vanderbilt by double digits. They're having to play really, really bad for us to lose these games.
Yeah, and I think that's only took 1 shot.
And it didn't look good. It was a missed 3 that I don't even know if it drew iron. I think that's the most frustrating thing about it is we're losing close games when we're probably playing some of the worst basketball we can in certain spots, but we're still barely. And that's the thing where everybody's like, "Oh, we're such a terrible team," and I'm like, you realize like an average game from this guy who had one of the worst games you will ever see, and we win that ball game. So we're not a bad team. But I say that, and I will back that up by saying we're playing like a bad team because I've said it often. Good teams find ways to win those games, and bad teams will find ways to lose. And we have found, I think we've discovered every possible way to lose a basketball game so far this season. We've had blowout losses where we played bad defensively. We've had games where the other team can't miss a shot. We've had games where it went down to the wire and we've had the buzzer beater was essentially a buzzer beater layup last night. I think the only way that we haven't lost a game so far this season is free throws at the end where somebody got fouled. And I probably just spoke that into existence. We're going to lose against somebody in that stupid way and during the SEC tournament or something.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, these are really poor performances. Some of these guys are having to turn in for Auburn to lose. Right. And not like, oh, he had a regular. But then at the same time, I kind of feel like you are what you repeatedly do. So if you just keep doing this, then that's what you are, and we shouldn't expect anything more.
Dead Tim C says, I knew when it was as close as it was, Auburn could not close. It has become a pattern, basically, to the point you just made.
They can't close. This team can't close.
Yeah, for sure. Philip Coleman says, just seems like shots not falling constantly. Shot be halfway down and come out. That happened a lot.
The weirdest thing that has happened over this whatever game stretch that we've been losing is how often shots are like halfway in and come back out. It's just like, yo, what is this?
I want you guys to remember this, right? 45% is the magic mark for Auburn in terms of winning. When they are under 45% shooting, and I'm talking about 43 or 44 even, right? If they can get over 45%, the chances of them winning go up significantly. But under 45%, man, you're going to get this, right? That's at 43%. That's that 1 or 2 shots that you need.
Yeah,
that they seem to miss, right? Over 45%, they're winning by double digits.
Yeah,
right. If it's close, I don't like Auburn. I just don't like Auburn if it's close.
Haley says they pulled us back, and we mentioned this. They pulled us back onto the court after losing just to call a foul on us. We lost twice last night.
Oh, man, Jalen could have ended all that foolishness. Man, when he put that shot up, when they hit the back of the rim, I was like, oh, how poetic would that have been after everybody essentially was just like, this is bull crap, and he just sinks a 1 in a million shot. At the end, it would have just, I don't know. I dreamt about it. I was just like, oh, what if it had ended this way? Right.
With a little music that fades into your dream.
Right. So.
Kyle Sweat says we need 3 wins and at least 2 in the SEC tournament. What are your thoughts about this, gentlemen?
I'm going to disagree with Kyle here. I don't think the SEC tournament matters unless they win it. I
Yeah,
think it's
you're
3
going to
wins.
have to lose out to need the SEC tournament. I think that if you can, so we've got 4 games left.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get 2 of them, and you can't lose bad in any of the 4. You
Correct.
get 2 of you split these last 4, and you don't get blown out in any of them, then you're probably in. And because we've got Northwestern on our schedule that we beat, who's been playing well,
Mm-hmm.
and the teams that we've lost to the commentator's point, absent of Georgia, are all good teams or all tournament teams.
Yeah.
So you're
No
not
bad losses.
Yeah, the only bad loss, in my opinion, and I agree with Mike, is probably Georgia on your schedule. And because it's a conference loss, it stings a little bit less. And you just beat the brakes off of Missouri, right?
Right.
So I think that if you win 2 of the last 4, you're going to sneak into the tournament.
You said don't get blown out, so which means they got to play the game of their lives against on the road in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
just
have to
need
be the game of their lives. They just play the defense they've been playing all year.
I'm just
right?
saying, don't get blown out.
Yeah,
for sure. Now, let me say this: if you again, shameless plug, but if go watch the interview we did with Stephen Pearl, he talks about the schedule, the net, all this stuff. I thought he broke it down perfectly where Auburn is and what they have to do. Right, somewhere midway through that interview, we ask about that, and he talks about hey, you got 4 games left or 5 games left. How do you guys? Because we did the interview before last night's game, so I thought he broke it down perfectly.
Yeah. Dustin Smith says, "Appreciate you guys, War Eagle. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the super there.
My guy,
War
my
Eagle
guy.
back at you." Lisa Wise asks, is there nothing an SEC coach can do when disparity of fouls against a team is consistent? If I'm not mistaken, the crew last night was at one of our other games, A&M or Tennessee.
Yeah, I think she's right. I think it was A&M. Lisa it was the same crew, but to me they just gave Robbins way too much respect. I mean, they were. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like they were calling fouls for him like he was Shaq, or I don't know, man. Like
listen, and let me give props to Robbins. He's a very good player. He works hard. He killed us on the offensive glass.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But
he had a stupid haircut.
but yeah, he went to the foul line.
He could shoot free throws.
Oh yeah, no, he made the free throws too.
No, he did do that. Like he made the free throws.
I mean, and that's another thing too. Like, I don't know what's happening with our free throw shooting, because it's not that it's the guys that are missing the free throws that is like baffling me. Like Wendell missing one of the shots, free throws he got late in the game. KD missed both of them on one trip that he went.
Yeah, he missed 2, and then you lose. The way you lose, like I was like, you can't go to the line. If you're KD, man, you can't go to the line and miss 2 free throws there, right?
Yeah.
Your goal, you for so long you've worked to try to get to the line. You got to be good when you get there.
Come on, man! Like
when he missed both of those, I was just like, "Come on, bro! Like you got to at least make one of them, right? Like, what are we doing right now?" And then you just don't expect Wendell to miss, but that was indicative. When Wendell missed that free throw, I was just like, "See, this is the kind of game he's having."
Yeah, this is how it's gonna be. This is how it's gonna be. Mm-hmm.
Phil Petway says guard play is the Achilles heel of this team. Zep, Wendell, and KD. KD was okay yesterday, but the other 2 didn't provide as much.
Yeah, KD played 24 minutes last night. And in his 24 minutes, he took 5 shots. One of them was a big one, right? Yeah. But he didn't jack up a bunch of shots. Other stuff. I mean, he had a steal, he had 2 assists, and he got a rebound. And I mean, I think he made his presence felt in other ways. There was one play where he kind of dribbled himself into a corner.
Mm-hmm.
He
was at the top, and he kept backing up for whatever reason. The guy knocked the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, and I was just like, what are you doing, man? Yeah. So there are. I mean, there's just some puzzling things with this team. There are, and there's room for them to grow. But the cries that fans have for us to go out and get shooting guards, I think they're only going to grow louder with how this team has performed. Because you can't hit shots consistently from the outside or from mid-range. The defense that teams play on you gets a lot easier. It's easier for them to defend the floor, and then again, the mistakes you made are more highlighted. It's just you need in today's basketball, in today's game, you need shot makers. And I know that sounds like an obvious kind of statement. Like, of course you have to make shots, Mike G. Like, but I mean, you need shot makers because the teams that you're playing, even the average teams, have shot makers.
Yeah.
That's it. Bottom line. I felt like Vanderbilt could hit a jumper when they needed it, and Auburn couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vandy at one point in time from 3 was just kind of unconscious. I was just like, yo, are they going to miss one of these at any point in time? And they were contested 3. Some of them were open, but they were a lot of contested 3s. I was just like, good Lord, man. Can everybody shoot but us?
Right.
The answer to that is no, Tennessee can't shoot. But yeah, can everybody shoot but us? It just feels Mississippi State can't shoot either. But yeah, man, it's frustrating to watch other teams take advantage of opportunities that Auburn gets and we don't. Right. Like the shots are there for us and they're just not falling. Like,
yeah. I mean, again, Bruce has tried. I saw Scoot Henderson this weekend.
Yeah.
NBA All-Star weekend. And I was just like, what could have been? Let me grab some of these comments here. Baseball. B-Rad says, exciting times for baseball. It was cold out there.
Listen, somebody posted on my timeline. They were like, Mike G, it was Stewart. Stewart's like, isn't it great to be back in Alabama with this beautiful weather watching a baseball game? I was like, Stewart, it's cold as hell out here. Now, the sun was out, but we were in the shade and it was cold.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And so I don't know if you guys know anything about lupus. Cold feels colder. So it was cold. Y'all was cold. I was the coldest. I was the coldest out here doing it. The
coldest Crawford.
Right. I'm about to say you you the coldest.
So yeah, I was the coldest out there, but it was cold. It was cold. And when you're out there swinging a bat, I think that makes what these guys do even more impressive, because I don't know, like, if you ever tried to hit a baseball in the cold
or just play baseball, like you're not doing a lot of moving. When you're out there, you're just standing there, just getting assaulted by cold air. So.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So, like, kudos to those guys for going out there when it's the coldest and winning a game 6-1.
Lisa Wise says freshman pitcher Drew Nelson is from her hometown, Troy, Alabama. Pike Liberal Arts School is starting for Auburn. So proud, and good luck to Drew.
Yes, Auburn's going to be good at baseball this year. They're going to be good. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to call any shutouts for them, but they're going to be good at baseball.
I've seen a lot of a couple people in our chat right now talking about them. Everybody is very much in favor of the all blue uniforms that the baseball team is wearing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Corey Weber says and he circles back around. We've come full circle because you started with this. Remember the name Ike Irish? This kid can rake.
Yeah, like, that's an understatement. He can just flat play. And it's funny, as somebody who is not a huge baseball fan, you can just, there's some guys you just learn to appreciate greatness when you're watching it, and he's one of those kids that I think, man, is just going to be a complete star at Auburn. Now, if he could have gone pro, he would have been a top 50 pick if he had decided to go pro. And I'm a credit to my guy, Zach Blackerby. He had texted me that during the game. I was like, yo, who is this Ike Irish kid? Because Zach's a big baseball fan. And he was like, yo, like, it was amazing that we got him to come to Auburn. And I don't know if this was an NIL thing or what it was, but my understanding is he would have been a top 50 pick in the MLB draft had he decided to go that route. And he came to Auburn. So he's good. He good.
Well, guys, listen, so far you have been watching the Weekend Tailgate courtesy of Athletic Architects. Guys, do us a favor and share this content on your social media. Help people to find us. Smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Take a quick break to acknowledge our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to buildthehouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Yes, indeed. Thank you to the sponsors of the War Report. And thank you to those of you who have stuck with us during the off season as members. We want to continue to give you guys great content during the off season. You know, we got the interviews popping. We had Stephen Pearl drop today. We got John Cohen dropping tomorrow. We got Coach Johnny Harris dropping on Wednesday. We got more coming down the pipeline. But I also got film review stuff popping for our members, man. So you guys make sure you stay locked in with us. We got so much more we want to get ready for you guys to be able to experience with the War Report. That is going to be member only. So you got to make sure you become a member of the War Report. And we appreciate those of you who have. If you aren't a member, maybe one of the guys in the chat right now wants to gift a couple memberships to somebody. So you can do that really easily from the live chat from a desktop computer and give them a free month of the War Report on you. Giving away a t-shirt again, the AU t-shirts. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. So somebody's going to get a free t-shirt here in just a little bit, but you got to be present when we call your name. We'll do the drawing here in about 20 minutes or so. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up to be a part of that drawing. And just as a reminder, we are the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. Everywhere where you listen to podcasts, make sure you get your podcast listens in, man. We got some great audio only content. It's been very fun for me to be doing the Amen Corner podcast with our guy Paul Meharry from Georgia and my guy Kenny B from Florida, because I get to talk junk about other teams all day, every day with other people from those programs. So my petty gets to have like a landing spot directly in the ears of somebody who cheers for another team. So it's really good to be able to do that. You guys should check the podcast out. It's been fun.
Ike, we got the Stephen Pearl promo clip in here. You want to hit him with that real quick?
Oh, I didn't realize that was there. All right, yeah. So we got Stephen Pearl. It is live right now on the channel. So Mike G and myself got an opportunity to talk to Stephen Pearl a little bit. This is pre-Vanderbilt, but talk to him a little bit. Here's a little of that conversation.
What's it like having a dad as a great coach and being able to learn under his tutelage?
He was a hell of a lot harder to play for than he is to work for. So I understand when our guys get frustrated and get upset sometimes.
Traveling back to Knoxville to be a coach there, right? What's that experience like for you? You've done that a couple of times.
People think, like, what's it like playing at your alma mater? I'm like, it's pretty simple. Like, I don't like those guys. They fired us.
Stephen, let's switch gears and talk about the dichotomy of this year's team. No Jabari Smith, no Walker Kessler. You guys have had to replace a lot of production from that standpoint. So
you don't want to lose guys like Ike Irish after 1 year, but that would have meant that we would have had to go 25-6 that year.
What's the off season like for you guys? Like, you guys are in,
like, it's turned into a 12-month season, really, which is crazy. Now with the transfer portal, like, we're right into recruiting.
There are a lot of people who feel like that you have surpassed your father as the best looking guy on the team. What are your thoughts?
Definitely go check that out, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all have been killing it lately with the interviews, starting with Hugh Freeze last week, continuing on now. So great content. This is why there's no off seasons with the War Report. Definitely continue to check us out for sure, guys.
Yeah,
definitely
we got
off-season here.
John Cohen tomorrow. Is it coming tomorrow? It's going tomorrow. Yeah, so we sat down with the athletic director tomorrow. We'll be dropping a little promo for that today. But lots of great content coming at you nonstop. We're working to try to get these guys while they're in their version of an offseason to talk to us a little bit about where Auburn Sports is going in general. So we're football school, but, we want you guys to hear from, these Olympic sport coaches, because you can't be in everything school without everything coaches. And I think that Auburn has some really great coaches worth hearing from.
Awesome. Misa ATA says, already watched it this morning. Love the petty that he has towards Tennessee. Great interview. Glad you was able to check that out. Thank you for hanging out with us this Sunday, Misa. AD says, love the building rapport with Stephen Pearl. Great stuff. Y'all are killing it.
He was
Good
a
to
great
hear from
interview.
you.
He was a great interview. I liked him.
Yeah.
You know, when guys show up and they want to interview, like we had fun, and he said that at the end of the interview.
Yeah,
He had
I
fun
think
talking to us.
that's a big thing. You know, the Cohen interview, which drops tomorrow, he was great.
Yeah, it was
Really great
fantastic.
interview. Good conversation with him. Coach Johnny Harris, great interview. But yeah, I think of the ones we've done recently, Stephen Pearl might be my favorite, just because of the energy that he gave back. You know, like Cohen's a little more buttoned up, right? And so he, even though it was a good conversation, it was very like it felt like you were talking to an athletic director, right?
Yeah,
And
he was very
even though he was cool,
corporate.
like he was super cool. Like he was like, we were calling him Mr. Cohen. He was like, John, right? I was like,
John.
okay, all right, cool.
All right, John.
Yeah. But yeah, I just felt like Stephen Pearl's interview was probably one of the better ones we've done recently.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he's just kept it real about Tennessee. Like that's his alma mater, guys.
Yeah.
He was like,
he went to school, played there. I mean, he's just like, yeah.
He was like, listen, they ain't treating you like an alum when they fired us. So those guys, right? And that's the raw emotion we need our guys to play with.
It's a little petty too, which is
I liked it.
No, very petty.
I liked it.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, the petty is strong with this one.
Lisa Wise says Drew gave up a grand slam in the first inning, got pulled. Feel bad for him, but learning experience. Moving forward, I will not post before his next start.
Yeah, he is currently. I mean, Auburn is currently getting mopped. They're down 5-0 right now.
Yeah, Lisa, don't wear that on. That's not on you. You cannot go to sleep with that weight, right? Like, but it is probably your fault.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't post too early.
Yeah. Post when he does well.
Oh, you know, guy,
by the way, did you know he was from?
All right, you know, our guy Pablo on Twitter, he had tweeted out like Baylor is so much fun, best team in the country, like halfway through the game, and then I tuned back in and they got beat by like double digits, and I was like, Baylor lost. So yeah, don't tweet too early. Don't say nothing too early.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to though by the nature of how Twitter works. But Otis Smith says, "Do y'all think there is a chance he becomes our coach when his dad leaves?"
Watch the interview.
Watch the interview.
we talked about that. We asked him straight up, like, "Hey, coach in waiting, right?" So we're out here asking the questions you guys want to know.
Okay, all right. He comes back and says, "They're not there." WTF?
He's just correcting his grammar and then telling everybody
they're not
to watch
there.
the film with me.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. That was not to watch the film WTF, but still.
I was like, they're not there. They're not. Like, where are they? Yeah, I don't. Ike, is it time for like a T-shirt about the refs? Like,
we can't get fined, so sure. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
You can. What did y'all really see?
Yeah. WTF? What did y'all really see? Right, like, yeah, I think it's time for a T-shirt about these bad calls. I trust you to come up with something clever, but I'm just putting my vote in for one of these T-shirts.
I'll see what I could come up with.
At the rate they're going, we probably have a nice T-shirt by the end of the regular season.
It's going to be a collection. It's going to be a ref collection.
the fall collection of
right. Spring line, ref spring line. Oh my god.
John Brandon says, so y'all are basically really building rapport. Yeah, man.
That's why it's called that. That's why it's called that. I mean, I'm telling you, when they have time to at least spend a few minutes talking with us before the interview, and you know, some of these, I mean, they're busy, right? Stephen Pearl is in the middle. Obviously, it's a busy time for him right now, but he did not treat the interview like he was running to the next thing, and that's something I always appreciate. Sometimes it's unavoidable, so I don't fault anybody for that. But like, you know, whenever they sit down and they're just engaged, and you know, there's small things in communication that I always note when our interviewee uses our names when they're talking to us, and they're saying, "Hey, Mike, Ike," like, you know, you can always tell when they're engaged, and I think that's what part of what made it such a great interview. And I think part of the reason why I believe he'll be a great coach, being able to engage and connect with people is something that a good coach knows how to do.
He's learned
Right.
from one of the best,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So I'm saying, I mean, again, yeah, he's gonna have to surpass his dad at some point. Some people feel like he's GQ enough to do it, but we'll see. We'll see if we can settle that debate here
For
on
sure.
the socials.
Kyle Sweat says, y'all looking for some good news? We start spring football in 2 weeks. Actually, Kyle, we start in 8 days.
8 days. So
Because
just
on the
over a
27th.
week. Mhm.
Yeah, just over a week. We start spring ball. And even though we're almost towards the time to draw, let's go ahead and start talking about some spring ball. Like we've been talking a good bit about current players, guys who've been here and guys who really need to have this is a very important spring for some of these guys. Who are some guys who really need to put up a strong showing with these new coaches in order to really be able to compete or just be in the rotation come fall. Let's talk about some of the new guys coming in. Of course, we got some freshmen, but we hit the transfer portal really hard. And I want to ask you guys, I'm going to hold off on my answer because some of you guys may take one of mine, which is fine. But I want you to pick one guy on offense, one guy on defense, who's a newcomer that you expect to actually make some serious noise. Now, here's the thing. At Auburn in past years, it seems like we've had a guy make a lot of noise in spring and he never sees the light of day come summer and fall. I don't expect that to be the case here. So whoever makes noise in spring, I expect them to actually be a factor moving forward. But which one of the newcomers, guys at the transfer portal, or even a true freshman, who do you expect, one guy offense, one guy defense, to really make some noise? I will start with you, Mike G.
On defense, I'm really excited to see what Austin Keys is going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, linebacker. That is a group that needs some improvement. And he is coming in, and I just think, Ole Miss fans were kind of in shambles that he left. And their pain, I think, is our joy. So whenever a player leaves and fans are just like, oh, man, why would he do that? Auburn is a downgrade. Screw those guys. They're on the plains, but their defense is plain. Like they're coming with all kind of things to down this guy coming to Auburn. And I'm just like, yes, this is somebody who I think can contribute in a room that, quite honestly, if he is above average, he should make a big splash in the linebacker room this year. Now, they weren't a well-coached group, and no diss to Christian Robinson, but I think their play on the field just the last couple of years just did not pan out to say, hey, there may be talent there, but these guys, for some reason, don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And, I think Austin Keys is going to come in and can be an instant leader in that room. So on defense, for me, it's Austin Keys. On offense, I mean, this is interesting, right? Again, it's easy to go with the group that needs the most improvement, which would be the offensive line. So I think about guys like Gunnar Brenton, but I'm actually very interested to see what this kid from South Florida is going to do, Brian Battie.
Brian Battie.
I'm really interested to see what he's going to do this spring. And here's why. I don't really think you need to see much from Jarquez Hunter this spring. Keep him healthy. Get him out of the spring without any injuries is how I feel about Jarquez Hunter. But this Battie kid might actually make a huge impact on special teams. And this is something that has been a little bit of a bugaboo for Auburn over the years. But having a guy who can not only just make the simple plays, but also bust one loose is going to be interesting. And I think, it's tough because on special teams, how much do we really see in practice? Like, in 8A, they're not going to be tackling the punt returner, I don't think. Have we ever done that?
No.
I ain't ever done that, right?
No, they don't go live on the kicks at all.
Yeah, but it's going to leave a lot to be wondered about it, and I'll be interested to see if he locks that spot down, that starting punt returner immediately, or if there's some kind of competition there. Now, I didn't think that Keontae Scott did a bad job. He's a risk taker. Like, listen, man, this dude gambles.
Yeah.
Keontae gambles. And at times it paid off, and at other times it felt like the closer judgments he had trouble with. But yeah, I'm looking at the kid from South Florida, man. I think you need 3 running backs. You need 3 running backs. And between him, Damari Alston, and Jarquez Hunter, it'll be interesting to see if his experience allows him to overtake Damari Alston, the incumbent, who would have been the presumed number 2 running back, if we brought nobody in. So I'm going to be watching him. I think he has a chance to make a big splash this spring.
Stuart Donald says, but he seems like the Darren Sproles type.
Yeah. Like, he's quick. And again, Darren Sproles was a special teams guy in college and in the NFL at times. Now, I'll tell you, on my fantasy team, he was awful. It's terrible. Whatever I needed from him, he came up 5 yards short. But T just, I think that's a decent comparison. That's kind of made in that mold a little. Maybe not as. I don't know. Hopefully, he's better than Sproles.
Ike.
I'm gonna try to go away from where I think you're gonna go see and try to name a name that probably isn't on a lot of people's mind as far as newcomers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the guy who I'm looking forward to seeing doing some major stuff for us is going to be on the defensive line in Naseel Kite. So I'm going to go with the transfer in from Maryland, just because I feel like this defensive scheme that Ron Roberts wants to run is going to be imperative that the guys that are in the middle are going to be doing their thing. We know Jason Jones is going to anchor that situation, but between Lawrence Jackson, or I think his last name is Jackson, Lawrence Jackson, the kid that transferred from Purdue, and Naseel Kite, the Maryland transfer, those 2 guys, we have to have a strong rotation, right? Like, you can't have some significant drop off if Marcus Harris comes off the field, Jeffrey Emba comes off the field, Jason Jones comes off the field, and you try 3 new guys out there. Those 3 guys need to be just as productive as the first 3, right? And so those guys, I think the kid from Purdue transfers a little bit more to a nose than Naseel Kite, but I think Naseel Kite's going to be a big guy down on the defensive line. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. As far as an offensive guy, I'm going to have to go with Nick Mardner as a newcomer that I think is I'm looking forward to seeing, because he's supposedly tall and fast. So, like, usually you're going to get a tall guy who's going to be a possession receiver, but if you're tall and fast, then you become we need to get this guy the ball, right? So Nick Mardner is a guy who I'm looking forward to seeing as a newcomer on that offense, do some things, and having a guy with a big catch radius. We've talked about this already, helps your quarterback even more, because yes, you need to be accurate, but if you can just put it in the same area code, he can go get it. So hopefully Mardner will turn into that kind of guy for us. So I'm going to go with those 2.
Our guy Nabias Wilborn is projecting Mardner as a starter.
I could see that.
He's projecting. I read the article that he wrote. He's projecting Mardner as a starter. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I agree with everything you said about Nick Mardner and why he might potentially, be somebody who really improves that room.
Yeah, for me, starting with defense, I would have to go with Elijah McAllister playing at that edge position.
That's not where I thought you were going to go. I should have went with my other guy.
You should have went with your other guy.
Mario Tolan was going to be the guy initially.
That's why I was trying to go with. I think we were trying to fake each other, and we faked ourselves out there. Yeah. But I'm going with Elijah McAllister because the edge position is going to be very important going into spring, and you have a lot of newcomers coming in there. Obviously, we know we have our guy who's coming back, who didn't got a little bit of burn last year. He was committed to Tennessee. What's his name's escaping me? Dylan. Dylan
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks. Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks. I thought Mike was going to step in because that's been Mike's been cheering him on, but
we're like newcomers though. We're talking newcomers.
Well, he was just saying as far as the edge room is concerned.
As far as the edge room is concerned, outside of Dylan Brooks, you want to see a guy with experience there. You want to see a guy who's played well in that position, and I think McAllister gives you another body And he's played a lot of ball. And so I expect him to make some noise, at least to give us some comfort.
Did that Vanderbilt game after last night next season just become that much more spicy? Like, because I say that because McAllister came in from Vandy. Vandy just beat us the last second. And like, do we now have to punish Vandy in football this coming fall? Like, is that like a requisite thing? We have to go to Nashville and beat the crap out of the Commodores.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was feeling that way even before last night's game. Like
necessary.
It
adds some spice to it.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of motivation. But yeah, he's the guy on defense that I'm looking at to make sure, hey, are we good at this edge position? Because we lost a lot, right? I don't expect him to really bring a lot of pressure, but I'm looking for him to be really good against the run, and set the edge there for sure. On offense, Rivaldo Fairweather is the guy that I'm looking at. You guys talked to Hugh Freeze, and one of the things that he's placed a lot of emphasis on is seeing what these guys can do on film, getting an idea of what these guys can do. He's seen a lot of Fairweather. And so I think that gives him a good opportunity to just come in and continue to show what he can do. I like him in that room. That's a pretty packed, busy room, but I think he'll definitely have his opportunities to excel in this offense, especially if he gets some balls thrown his way, some opportunities to show what he can do. I'm looking at him to make some noise this spring. So those are my two there. We'll get to some of you guys' comments towards once we come from the drawing. But we are doing a drawing, guys. We're giving away an AU t-shirt courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. It's time to draw. We actually gave you a little bit more time to get the hashtag in there. If you haven't done so, you don't want this shirt. For those who do, Ike, take it away.
Yep, let's get to it. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Somebody's going to win a shirt today. Who shall it be? Today's shirt winner is
Paul
Covington.
Paul Covington.
Are you here,
Paul?
What do we think Paul does? Is he a lawyer? Paul Covington. All right. I feel like Paul does. Name? Yeah, he's a lawyer name. Paul Covington and Associates.
Let us know if you're here, Paul, for sure. Or are you gone? Let's get back to some of these comments. Those are the guys we gave. Oda Smith says Robbie for sure, and the wide receiver room needs to be lights out this spring, but serious noise newcomer on offense I think will be Petit. So he agrees with you, Mike G, on that one.
If it's the same Paul Covington that won before, he works in computers.
He is here. Retired Air Force.
Retired Air Force. Okay.
Yes.
All right. There you go. Hey, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. And thank you for hanging out with us. Congrats. Email us, business at the War Report. We need your shirt size as well as your physical address. Send us that through email, and that shirt should be on its way. Congrats again, and thanks for hanging out with us, Paul. Let's grab some more comments here. Zach says fair weather. So we have a fair weather guy here. Zach also says Keys or Tolan on defense. The linebacker room is going to be very interesting to watch. I think this is going to be one of the most closely watched rooms in spring. You guys agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. They got to improve, man. Like, again, protecting the second level of the defense was a problem last year.
Yeah.
And being able to stop the run and not allow guys to get to the second level, and you're, putting your safeties on one-on-one islands with running backs, and like they need to get better fast.
Yeah.
So
Zach also comes back and says, on offense, I got two eyes, Camden Brown and Fairweather. I think going to eat. I'm being interested to see what Camden Brown does. I mean, we heard so much about him in the summer because he was he was a summer enrollee, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't go through spring, but he made a lot of noise, but we never got to see it. But of course, there's a lot of guys we didn't get to see from the receiving core last year due to the issues we had. So I'm curious to see how he fares in this spring as well. Leo Martinez asked, what quarterback do you think they're going to bring in? I would encourage you to go check out the interview that Ike and Mike did with Hugh Freeze, because he gives a bit of insight into the fact that, hey, there's a lot he doesn't know about the quarterbacks currently on the roster.
Yeah.
And what those guys do in the spring will determine what he does. I think for many people, it's a foregone conclusion that he's going into the portal post-spring. I don't think Hugh Freeze knows that, or if he does, he hasn't made it public or known. So watch that interview. You'll get a little bit more insight, because Mike G, you actually asked him about this, and he gave a pretty interesting answer. So check that out, Leo. Thanks for watching.
Straight up, like a couple times.
Yeah.
Like I've asked him a few times. Every time I ask him, like, hey, coach, what you guys going to do about them quarterback after the second portal period? And he is stressing. I've watched some tape, but there's only so much you can tell. The quarterbacks that we do have were running for their lives, so it's hard to evaluate even that tape. And I need to get in here and coach these guys a little bit and see how they do this spring, see how they take coaching, and see how far they have to go. And I think you're always looking to add, because injuries, attrition, all kinds of things can happen. So I think how aggressively they go after that next quarterback will be, you know what I mean? Like whether they feel like we got to go get a starter like right now, or whether they're just like, hey, we just need to bring in depth and competition. Yeah. So
Wesley Hilson, good to have you with us, man. He says, have they let y'all know what sort of access the media will have at practices?
Yeah, it's different with every coach. Like some of them, we're going to have some access, right? We're going to have some access, but it's different with every coach, how they decide to let media in and what they let us see. For the most part, I'm not expecting anything out of the normal when it comes to that. I think in a coach's first year, he wants to show culture and he wants to show something. So, he wants you guys to see what he's doing to some extent. How much of that, obviously, will just, again, we'll find out. But to answer your question, no, but I don't expect anything out of the ordinary when it comes to that.
Yeah, for sure. Otis Smith says our running backs will be the best in the SEC, if not the nation.
Yes, when you got Jarquez Hunter in there, yes, I do believe that this has a chance to be true. How good Battie is, and if Damari Alston takes the next step, it could be a really, really good room. But if they're dodging defenders 2 yards in the backfield, it will be somewhat limiting. So this is a question more to me about the offensive line than it is about the running backs.
Yeah, because the running backs have a ton of talent, but if they're not going to get an opportunity to display that talent because they're having to your point, dodge defenders 2-3 yards deep, it's going to be a difficult year for them. But hopefully our upgraded offensive line will start to round into form by the time fall comes.
Oda comes back and says, fact of the day, we are 21-21 versus Vandy. I'm assuming he's talking basketball.
Basketball,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And football, that's a lot of firing.
Vandy has been pretty decent over the years in basketball. I know they've kind of taken a bit of a dip lately, but they appear to be on the uptick. If you've been paying attention to them, they're on a bit of a win streak in conference right now. So
yeah. Mike G fact, fun Mike G fact. My first pair of shoes that weren't from Payless were a pair of Jerry Stackhouses. I had a pair. Those were my first name brand shoes with some Jerry Stackhouses. They were terrible.
I wasn't gonna say nothing,
but yes, I was proud of my Jerry Stackhouses at the time. I was in 8th grade.
Hey man, Jerry used to be that guy until this guy by the name of Allen Iverson came to Philly and just started just hooping on folks. But
Jerry Stackhouse.
Jerry Stackhouse. Stuart Donald says, I will take B. Will's turn. So Stuart Donald is our honorary fourth member when B's out. On defense, I'll take Tolan. We need a disruptor, and he could be it. On offense, I've got to go with Avery Jones. Avery Jones was going to be my pick on the line, but I was purposefully trying to stay away from the O-line. I've been high on Avery Jones just because of the position. the importance of the center position and his ability. So I've been high on him. I'm excited about him. I will be shocked if he's not at least penciled in as a center leaving spring. Ike, you've been high on Avery Jones as well, right?
Yeah, man. I think he's the real deal. I think he's listen, for your offensive line to gel quickly, a lot of it has to come with the leadership at the center position. He's got the experience. We'll see if he can put it together at this level. I'm gonna try to see if I can find some film on him. I've got some digging to do because it's East Carolina, so it's not as if that's just readily available everywhere. But I'm gonna try to see if I can find some film on him, see if we can do some study on what Avery Jones has done out there.
Oda comes back and says, "No, it's football, fellas. We're 21-21 versus them."
Really?
Interesting. He's right. We're 21-21 and a tie. 21-21-1.
Yikes.
I really wanted that to be basketball.
Yeah, that is surprising. That is very surprising.
Yeah. That doesn't make me feel good at all. Hot Dog Water says the old school Jerry Stackhouses in Grant Hills. Grant Hills was like the shoe.
Grant Hill drinks Sprite. He's like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I had the second pair of Grant Hills. The old Fila. The only reason I wore Filas.
Fila. I remember.
Yeah, man.
Are they still a thing? Is that still a thing? Can you buy
Yes,
Filas?
actually.
Yeah, they're still a company.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they're not very popular, but
they made a little recent push. Some of the younger kids started rocking Filas, and I was like, this is trendy. But
okay.
Yeah. Well, as long as they're not giving out contracts to be the uniform providers, and we end up with like a Fila contract or something.
Oh
like
man,
that.
Listen, how over Under Armour is everybody?
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, I don't want to put too much out there that we talk about off camera, but we did have some insight about the whole situation with the uniforms and whether or not that actually plays a part in recruiting, and the answer was yes. That recruits definitely want certain types of gear, and Under Armour just ain't what the kids want to rock. And so it plays a part in whether or not some kids come to a school. That's surprising to me that they care that much, but it matters to some of the kids. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do once this contract is up.
When is it up?
2025?
Yeah, I think 25 is when it ends.
Yeah, 2025. So, like, man, people are over this. They're over this, right? And
They should be. It's time.
Yeah. I'm like, Under Armour.
Yeah,
Under Armour. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But I don't. It's funny, like people are just like Nike, but then we hate Nike basketballs. Like on Twitter, everybody hates Nike basketballs.
Are you one of those people, Haley?
Yeah.
I don't want those Nike basketballs though.
Yeah, right. Like we hate Nike basketball. So what is? I mean, can you have a different? Like we'll wear Nike jerseys, but we're going to use Spalding.
You guys remember when we were a Russell Athletic school?
Yes, I do.
You remember? Yeah, you remember the little Russell Athletic plant on 280 on the way out?
It's still out there.
It's still there.
It's still out there. Yeah.
Cool. They still pumping chemicals into the atmosphere out there?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But hey, they create a lot of jobs for those people in the area. So, it's a give and take. Oda Smith says Champion is back on the up and on the up and up. Hey, just saying.
Champion?
I mean, but the problem with Champion, so this is honestly the same problem that you have. Again, I'm not going to say who gave us the insight, but the same problem that you have with Under Armour is the problem that you would have with Champion is they don't outfit all of the sports that you have, right? Like they don't have enough gear to be able to outfit every sport that Auburn needs to have stuff for. And so you have to have somebody with that's why Adidas actually works really well as a sponsor for a school, because they do all of the sports. They have gear for everything. Nike has gear for everything. Jordan actually is limited in that way. Jordan, But if you have Jordan as your
recognition,
sponsor,
the name recognition.
If you have Jordan as your sponsor, you can still wear Nike for those other teams because they're affiliated brands. So the Jordan brand works really well for your basketball and even football, right? Like they do have Jordan cleats and all that sort of thing, but it doesn't work so well for swimming and diving, right? Or for whatever, wrestling. Well, actually, I don't know if they have wrestling, but you could wear Nike for those things because of the affiliation of the brand. But that's why Adidas works really well, but Under Armour doesn't. Why Champion doesn't? Because they don't really have some of the stuff for some of those other things that you need gear for.
And I think they're popular streetwear brands, but in terms of like, to your point, Ike, I don't think they really expand into those other areas like Nike and Adidas does. So that's what makes it a little tricky for these brands here. Let's see what else we got. Do we have any more? Am I missing any? Wooby says, "Do Lululemon make football gear?"
Right, because kids love Lululemon stuff.
I'm gonna go with nah on that one.
I'm dead. I'm so dead. Like, let me tell you something. When I tell you, I did not understand Lululemon for a long time because I'm like, it's a piece, this cloth that they're charging $50 for this thing. And then somebody gave me a Lululemon t-shirt, and I was like, oh, it feels like the Holy Spirit just touched me, right? Like it was amazing. It was like my favorite t-shirt. And I'm like, okay, I get it. All right. They make some comfortable stuff. I don't know how comfortable you need to be playing football Lululemon, all right? Maybe some Lululemon like tights, like or whatever, but I don't know. Lululemon jerseys, I don't know.
Dustin Smith says rocking the Russell jersey on Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Now listen,
killer combo.
I tweeted about Jefferson Pilot. This was back when we still had rabbit ears on TVs, and like what was it? Was it the Daves? The Daves, the three Daves on Jefferson Pilot.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah,
Dave, I think. But man, Jefferson Pilot. Oh my God! If you were on Jefferson Pilot, you were just conceding that you probably were not going to be able to watch the game, right? Like it's like we're on Jefferson Pilot, so we're probably playing Western Kentucky or Idaho or something. Man,
I mean, Jefferson Pilot had the rights to some of the SEC games back then, though. So
did they?
Yeah,
they had the early morning game. So yeah, like whatever. Like you think about it, there was no SEC network.
Kicks.
There was no SEC network, so they were essentially grabbing those games.
Yep,
interesting. Yeah. Jefferson Pilot. Yikes. Glad we're beyond those days. Appreciate what they did for us back then, though. Sometimes, because sometimes you could see the game, and sometimes you couldn't, depending on how your rabbit ears were working. But,
for sure. Sean Feely says, "Who is your surprise player that breaks out this year?"
Interesting question.
We'll give us some time to think about it. Come back. We'll do that tomorrow morning for a drop. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
That sounds like a drop question.
That does sound like a drop question.
We will definitely do that. And Wesley Hilson actually got the name Dave Neal. How could I forget Dave Neal?
And Dave Rowe. Yeah, that's right. There was another Dave, though. Who was the third Dave?
Wesley is such a historian, man. I love it.
Yeah, always coming through.
CM Pat says, shirt idea front. What call was that? Back. Fuck if I know. That's an idea. That's an idea for you.
Front. What call was that? Oh my
hilarious.
God. Okay. All right. Yep, that's an idea.
That's an idea for sure. For sure. All right, guys. Great show. Good convo, guys. Ike, tell the people what you got cooking up since you're making up for last week. So what they need to do to get to this content, sir.
Yeah, man, we're gonna watch some film. I know some of you guys are over basketball season. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna give you basketball content anyway this week. We're gonna look at some stuff. Some stuff I want to look at is just early offense stuff, man. So I saw some examples of it last night. So I'm just gonna talk about some of that, watch the film, and then we got to get back into this Robbie film. And I'm gonna try to get you, not this week, but I am actively pursuing some Avery Jones film for you guys to watch him at center.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try to see if I can get all of those things for you guys coming up here over the next couple of weeks. But we have to be a member to get into that watch the film content. Thanks to Ben Bloodworth for gifting memberships during today's show. If anybody else wants to gift memberships, you are welcome to do so. We appreciate it. 1 month free membership on somebody out there in the community who wants to say, hey, come be a part of this great family we have at the War Report. So 5 of you got that gift from Ben today, and we appreciate those of you who continue to support us in whatever way you do. If you didn't win today, congrats to our winner from today. But if you didn't win today, Paul, your merch is on its way to you. But you can go to the War Report shop at thewarreport.com and purchase your own merch and get in there and make sure you have the flyest War Report gear out there in the world, man. It's available right now to you. If you want to listen to us on podcasts, we are there at the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. Listen, this is important for us, guys. Like, if you're a podcast listener, tap in with us there and subscribe to our content over there, man, because it helps us tremendously, because there are a lot of people who are podcast only people.
Yep.
And the more people who listen to us, the more we get optimized over there in the podcast world. And that helps us to expand our reach as well. So we appreciate those of you who have done that already, but continue to support us in that way if you are a podcast person. And we want to just grow in all the ways that we have available, man. And that's one of the ways that we're intending to do it this year. So thanks.
Hey.
Special thanks to Athletic Architects for sponsoring today's show and being a partner of the War Report. Guys, be another partner of ours. Share this content on social media, like and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The War Report. We're TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We will definitely catch you with the morning drop this upcoming Monday. Thanks again for all your support. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.